GM. GM, GM. Okay, I feel a lot better. I can finally make a guide on the thing. My brain fog's cleared. I tried doing it when I was sick and I just could not understand how to build, how to play him, how to build him. But all it took was me to get a little bit better. My brain fog's cleared and now I understand how he did it and I climbed back the 200 points that I lost, right? So I want to show you guys how to build the thing. This is the important part here, okay? Because this is this character guide. So we'll look at him in the archive again because it's 555 here, of course. So the first thing we need to look at is that he has two gimmicks. He has two gimmicks. The first gimmick is his Gleam Walker, okay? Reducing turn meter reduction on all allies by 80%. This is very important because it stops things like, for example, if you fight Kraken, you fight Mio, which is the main one, right? You fight things like Mari with the S1 pushback. You fight things like all the pushback turn meter. Mia is another one. This helps you take a turn and not let your opponent just, have a free lunch. Okay? So that is his first gimmick, and his second gimmick we'll get to it later. But first, let's take a look at his first skill. Alright? This has a 25% chance to extend all animal skill cooldowns by 1 turn. So if he hits you and this hits, everything is going on cooldown. Okay? This is very, very powerful. It means that if the thing takes the turn, you may just only have your S1, right? This is going to be a 50% chance because you're going to run effect accuracy on him. And so this is a single hit regardless. If you hit this, it's quite devastating, okay? And so I definitely recommend your skill 1 to be level 5 because that is his gimmick. It is his gimmick, the reduced turn meter reduction on all allies by 80%, okay? So that is his S1. It's also where his speed is, and he's considering he's relatively fast at 125. Everyone can use him. CC can use him. Bruisers can use him. Okay, and you can build him relatively easy because of that high base speed. Okay, let's look at his S3. Now his S3 is his second gimmick, which I want to talk about. Okay, that's why I'm skipping the S2 first. Puts 30% speed down. Puts Torpor, which is a new debuff, and gives your entire team Sanctillin for 3 turns. Okay, this is a 2-hit, very important because that means you get almost guaranteed to hit it. Reduce 30% speed. This is very, very nice. Speed down, but why it's so strong is because it pairs with Torpor very, very nicely. And what does Torpor does? You're unable to gain turn meter plus effects. So things like Freya pushing your team forward. If they already have Torpor, they can't do that. Fushu, when she puts up the Moonlit Veil, if you hit them, they're not going to get turn meter pushed. Aya on Reaper Steps. Reaper Step is not going to push them. And if Aya doesn't clear this, then her S3 does not push the entire team. What else does it really hurt? Veronica. Plume, right? Plume's passive that pushes your entire team. And the most important thing about it all is that Torpor absolutely ruins Gigabytes. Absolutely ruins Gigabyte. It turns Gigabyte into a dead shell. Okay, and especially if the Gigabyte is on Sanya. All right, there were fights that I did where I landed Torpor on the Sanya and I forgot that Torpor doesn't give turn meter plus effect, and I was like, shit, that Sanya is going to move, it's going to heal up, blah blah blah, because of the turn meter push from Gigabyte. Gigabyte procced, nothing happened, and that's when I went, oh no, this is so fucking strong. Okay. So that is his second gimmick, but the most important part about it all is his Sanctillin. Sanctillin blocks 110% of the thing's defense, reducing damage taken to a minimum of 20% of the original damage. Okay, and so because it's a buff, it's almost like shield where you can click on it, you can see how much blockable defense you have. And so it's basically, let's say a Holden, for example, does a counter attack. Okay, let's say it does 4k damage. If your blockable damage, okay, it's 3,300, let's say. Okay, that means you're gonna take 4,000 minus 3,300. Holden's only doing 700 damage to you. That's how it's counted. Okay, it's ridiculously strong, this Sanctillin, and so putting this up literally means your opponent does negative damage at almost. You might as well just call it negative damage because it's just gonna heal it back up. Especially if you have Fushu and you hit him for 700 damage, and then she heals back 3k. You did negative damage. Okay, this is a very, very strong buff. However, this is a buff that can be stripped. All right, just remember that. So this is his second gimmick, which I want to talk about. But last but not least is his S2. And S2 is quite important because this is where he also gets his defense, right? And he's a defense scaler, okay? Not only that, his Sanctilin also scales up his defense. So, this does 3 hits and has a 30% chance, which is 60%, to push back the turn meter by 35% and inflict a 2-turn taunt. This is super powerful because you will see in like the RTA video that I'm going to put right at the end here, how this skill can push back key units that you do not want them to take a turn yet, so that your entire team can take a nice, you know, holistic turn order, right? Turn sequence before they move. And so if you can do that, usually it's quite devastating to your opponent because now they're playing catch up, right? So this is a very, very powerful skill. 30% chance to decrease the turn meter by 35% chance. If you hit all of this, it's a 100% turn meter pushback. If you don't hit all of it, it's a 35%, and at worst, it's 70%. Okay? The 1-turn taunt is even better. That means you essentially lost a turn. You essentially lost a turn because when you slam this, you're hitting an S1 into the Diting, who is already built tanky, and if you have Sanctilin up, it's negative damage. Okay? Very, very powerful skill. However, I don't think you need to put any skill up in here at all. Okay? I think this is a 20% turn meter pushback. It's not significant enough. So I think this is okay. I can't remember what it was. Actually, I can. Give me a second. I'll be back. Let me just check my old account. Okay, so here's the old account. You can see that he is a 25% turn meter decrease. Okay? Compared to the 30%. So let's take that away. So we can see that you really don't need anything on the S2 at all. The S2 is fine by itself. And so I definitely recommend, if you are going to skill the thing up, level 5 this, max this out, because this will actually help you against, you know, those Mia matchups, right? And definitely your S3. This is a very, very important skill. Although, you know, it may be a 5 turns cooldown if you don't get the level 5, but you can cycle this very, very quickly because you're putting speed down on your opponent, don't forget. So he's going to be taking more turns and more turn cycling. And so how do you build it? That's the real question here. So let's take a look at what I have built for him, right? This is what I have. This is my Diting that I am using right now, okay? I tried using him on Codex and Magic because I wanted to use the top port twice, but it doesn't work. I tried him on every different shell. I didn't like the Artisan because I need him to put the S3 up as soon as possible. And so I went with the Jackal card. And why is that? It's because number one, it gives me Bulwark. This is the important one. It gives you Bulwark, and I like playing my units on Bulwark because it means that you can bring him into situations where typically, if you don't have Bulwark on him and if you're not super fast, you can't really play him because he's just going to get CC'd, he's going to get cooldown increased, he's going to get, you know, pushback, all that kind of stuff. But I want him to have Bulwark because I need him to move, okay? And so putting this on him is very, very important in my opinion for me. But if you can run him giga fast, run him giga fast. You can see mine is only at 276. I've seen people run him at 290 because it's possible with the 125 base speed. But you also have to remember that you have to tune him to your strippers. And if you're not tuning it to your strippers, you have to tune him in a way where it makes sense, where your opponent's going to take the first turn, blast off all of their immunity so that you can press S3 safely without a stripper and put the speed down, put the torpor debuff on them. Swift Smite is also quite important, which, you know, Artisan does not give you. And so Jackal Guard just gives you all the important matrices that I want on him. So I'm running it on him. Not only that, if you guys remember, Jackal Guard gives you speed up, which is 30% speed. You are giving them speed down minus 30% speed. There is going to be another, you know, speed discrepancy over there, which means he's going to be taking way more turns than he should. Alright? You can see I'm running him on Crystal, Wall, Shadow Dash, and Insight. And that's because I rolled a max Insight, so I'm just leaving it at Insight at the moment. But you can go with Insight or Gaze, whichever works. Okay? because he's already at 119, you know, effect accuracy. For me, you don't really need a lot of effect accuracy. You just need the first one to land everything when, you know, the Etheria effect is still very, very high. And so it's still, I mean, basically it's 0, right? And you just need to be able to land your debuffs, because as you scale for later and later on into the matches, you know, your effect accuracy gets better, your healing efficacy gets lower, and all that kind of good stuff will happen during the Etheria effect. You're gonna land your stuff anyway, and because he cycles so much, you're gonna do enough, okay? And that's why I like to say 515 on him. But if you can't afford it, 514 first, then 515, and if you really want to, 555. All right? But you can see I have him at 555 over here, so I've been testing him at his fullest potential. This is how I like playing him. Okay? Now, when do you play him? That's the important question here that I need to, you know, talk to you guys about. He is very, very good at making units do almost no damage. And so playing him, you have to fulfill a few conditions. Number one, you need to be able to play him when your opponent is not playing, you know, a stripper or a buff stealer. So I like pairing it with Plume. So I've taken away a premium stripper, so now I have the Ting here. So now they have to either play a Heinrich or a Mia, and if you pre-ban a Hein, then they really don't have any other options to, you know, strip away his buffs, right? Besides stealing it, which is the next unit here, Veronica. Okay, and if you have and if they have Veronica, that's still not really that much of an issue. You just need to time it well. You can always start off with a 2-turn taunt on her, right? And she's never going to be able to steal your Sanctolin buff for that next 2 turns. That also works because now you're going to put Torpor on her, and she's going to be taking her turns relatively slowly. And because everyone likes to run her a bit slow, even I'm running her a little bit slow, you can see, she's not going to be, you know, this ultra zoomer anymore, right? So that is the first condition that you need to fulfill. You need to be able to play him when there are no strips and there's no buff stealing. Okay. The second one is he is, you know, very, very weak into buff block. All right. So naturally, Navet also counters him. Heinrich counters him. Any kind of buff block basically just counters him. Okay. But there are ways to mitigate that. Number one, you pair them with those units like Veronica and Plume. You can pair him with Aya to cleanse it off. You can pair him with Linglord to cleanse it off and extend the Sanctolin buffs. And he is very, very good into Ray Mary. Very, very good. Okay? Because Ray is not going to do a whole lot of damage to you anymore, thanks to Sanctolin. And because her whole gimmick is that she's going to press S3, goes to 100 stacks, S3 again with 30% more damage and vulnerable on top of it to do so much more damage. And the thing literally just negates all of that because of the blockable damage from Sanctolin. So when you see very high damage output teams from your opponent, draft the thing, make sure you get his, you know, Sanctolin buff up, and then your opponent's never killing you ever again, especially if you bring him with healers and you heal up. Okay? The other way you can also play him is to play him with, you know, damage share. Damage share is also very, very nice. Putting a damage share on him means that your Sanctolin is going to be blocking, you know, more damage than you should, because the damage share is going to, you know, share some of that damage already, so he's not going to take the full brunt of it, so he can block more. Another one is you can use defense ups, right? So defend up like him, defense up like Freya, you can use to fight, to use with Sanctolin. Very, very nice. Okay. If you put him on a defense buff before he procs the Sanctolin, it actually becomes a fucking stupid amount of you know, blockable damage that he can do. And so this is very, very key to his strategy. Okay, I want you to, but this is the last thing I want to talk about. Veronica can actually steal your Sanctolin buff, and she can give your entire team your Diting's defense. Okay, tried it, tested it, it works. Okay, so be very, very careful there. But besides that, he's been super fun. I've been using him in RTA a good amount, right? I've been trying him here and there, and you can see that I've been, you know, winning with him. You can see this is a Diting match, which you will see in all the RTA fights later on. But that is going to be the video, guys. Hopefully you found this Diting guide helpful, and if you did, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell me in the comments below that you found value. Catch you in the next one.
We fly. Love. Goodbye. Love. One time. Love. Goodbye. Low vibrations. I dream. Love. I see. Love. Low vibrations. Low vibrations.